This don't end in court. It ends in a field in front of your house.
If that's where you want to die, I'm more than happy to help you out.
What a ride! With 1923 Season 1 concluded, we now know every casualty on both sides of the Dutton War to keep the Yellowstone during the first 8 episodes of the series, alongside a slew of brutal deaths marking the life of Tiana Rainwater. So join Outsider as we prep for Season 2 by recapping Season 1's full death count, from lost Duttons to villainous priests, right here. And just to warn you, Season 1 held a lot more death than you remember, so beware of major spoilers for 1923 Season 1 ahead. 1923 begins by telling us that the Dutton parents of the previous Yellowstone prequel, 1883, are in fact dead before the 1920s. Their only daughter, Elsa Dutton's narration from beyond the grave confirms that Margaret Dutton froze to death after writing to the late James's brother, Jacob, to save their children and the ranch. This is where our story begins, and a lot more death follows. So let's rack them up, Outsiders. Number 1, Catherine. Catherine is the first casualty of 1923 and dies shortly after meeting Spencer Dutton during his first hunt of the show in episode 1. Outside their African camp, Catherine meets a grisly end at the jaws of one of those human-hungry leopards. Number 2, Casigo. Right as episode 2 begins, a second leopard takes Spencer's friend and guide, Casigo. The beast tackles him, ripping out his jugular, and Spencer does his best to save him, but is too late. Numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. Banner Creighton's fellow shepherds. Also in episode 2, Jacob and the Yellowstone cowboys hang Banner and his shepherd compatriots from trees, leaving their horses below them in hopes that a few steady, loyal mounts will save their riders, if only so they can tell the world what happens to men who cross Jacob Dutton. But there in the night, the sheepmen hang, all except Banner, who manages to cut himself free as 4 of his fellow shepherds die slowly. Number 7, John Dutton Sr.
I'm a man of my word!
Run.
In episode 3, 1923's horrific Dutton ambush rings out as Banner Creighton opens fire on the family. Jacob and his nephew John Sr. are caught in the crossfire of his Tommy gun, and despite 9 bullets hitting him, Jacob survives. But right-hand man John Sr. is killed instantly as a bullet passes through his eye. Number 8, Bob Strafford. In episode 4, we learn that Elizabeth survived her ambush gunshot wound, but her father, Bob Strafford, died while riding with the Duttons on that fateful day, leaving the Strafford Ranch in the hands of the nefarious Donald Whitfield. Numbers 9 and 10, The Awful Sister Mary and Company. After suffering further heinous abuse in episode 4, Tiana sneaks to the bedroom of her abuser, Sister Mary, in the dead of night. There, she savagely beats Sister Mary with her pillowcase full of Bibles before suffocating her. In episode 5, we also learn that Tiana killed the nun who raped her by plunging a letter opener through her chest. Good riddance. Number 11, Emma Dutton. The Yellowstone Manor has become a gloomy, desolate place by episode 5. There, Emma Dutton has entered a deep depression in the wake of John Sr.'s death. After a conversation with Kara, Emma shoots herself in the bedroom she used to share with her late husband. Number 12, Bapuksti. Also in episode 5, Tiana's friend Bapuksti is subjected to brutal beatings by Father Renaud as he attempts to discover where Tiana has fled to. Outraged at her response, the father beats her to death. Number 13, Captain Luca. Also in episode 5, Spencer and Alexandra's tugboat captain, Luca, succumbs to his bloody cough, likely lung cancer, while piloting their boat. This leaves the couple shipwrecked and stranded out in the Atlantic. Thanks, Luca. Number 14, Izakche. In episode 6, lawmen come looking for Tiana at her grandmother's house. As they search for Tiana, her grandmother, Izakche, lashes out at one of the officers. The officer pushes back, and she dies after hitting her head on her ironwood stove. Number 15, Priest number 1. At a Badlands campsite in episode 7, one of the priests searching for Tiana has taken Pete Plentycloud's captive. As soon as he's about to kill Pete, Tiana's father runs his horse, arrives, scalps the priest, slits his throat, then eats his soul by consuming the priest's heart. Number 16, Priest number 2. The next day, Tiana is close by Hank's flock out in the Badlands. There, the 2 remaining priests find her and recognize her. A fierce battle ensues, and Tiana drives her thumb into the eye of a priest, and as they prepare to beat her to death, Hank arrives, shooting them both with his shotgun, but one survives. Number 17, Priest number 3. Tiana is heavily battered, but she is alive. Hank carries her from the scene, and as he does, he is shot in the back by the surviving priest. Tiana struggles to her feet, grabbing a rock as the priest reloads. She bashes his skull in, and that finishes off all 3 priests looking for her. Which leads us to the awful number 18, Hank Plentyclouds. Hank tragically dies from the shotgun wound hand beneath Tiana as she sobs. Number 19. Wow, we are still going. Arthur Jr. In 1923's Episode 8 finale, we found out for the first time that Arthur Jr. is, in fact, the Earl of Sussex. And Spencer has accepted his challenge to the death over Alexandra. They duel on the deck, with Spencer readily handing Arthur's noble ass to him. Enraged, Arthur pulls a pistol, charging Spencer, who grabs his arm and flings him over the ship's railing to a frigid Atlantic death. Number 20. Baby Dutton. Back on the Yellowstone, Jack returns to Elizabeth, who's soaking in their tub. She's experiencing pregnancy pains, and soon blood overtakes the water. Something is terribly wrong. The next morning, a doctor breaks the news that Elizabeth is stable, but she flushed the baby, and the next generation of Dutton is lost for now. And that's all, folks. Thankfully, 1923 Season 1's death count ends there at an even number 20.
Ain't gonna get rid of me that easy.
But hey, did 1923 Season 1 have you as captivated as it did us? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to tell us if we missed anything as we await a gripping Season 2 return. And if you're enjoying our Yellowstone coverage, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Outsider for weekly Yellowstone updates. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all soon.